Just think of these stories when you lie in bed tonight. This world is a strange one. Every night we lie in bed, a place in which most of us feel safe, but in fact it is the place you are most vulnerable. I mean, think about it. You're unconscious, in the dark, unable to defend yourself. So, after I share these 6 true scary bedtime stories with you, I want you to think about them tonight when you lie in your own bed trying to sleep. I do want to give a quick shout out to TJ Bent for being our new badass and donating to our website renovation. Now, I hope you're sleepy, because I have some nightmare fuel, bedtime stories to read to you. Number 1. The Shadow Creature, submitted by Chelsea S. I'd like to start off by saying I'm an 18-year-old female, and this happened about 2 years ago when I was 16. I'm used to having strange, paranormal happenings in my life. My father died when I was 13, and I talk to him a lot in my dreams. In fact, I've talked to a lot of others who have passed as well. But that's not what this story is about. I suppose my gift also comes with a curse, since I have had several bouts of sleep paralysis. And in those moments, I have seen a lot of unsavory spirits. I woke up with a bloated, dead, drowned girl in bed with me. She threatened to hurt me if I called for help, which I did, and she began to choke me. But I then woke from that illusion immediately after, with scratch marks on my neck. I've seen the ghost of a clown sort of thing that likes to stand in the far left corner of my room, still and silent. He doesn't do much when I see him. He just stands and he smiles, breathing audibly. But usually, if my cat is in the same room as me when I'm having my sleep paralysis moments, these spirits will quickly leave without harming me. It seems they're intimidated by him, though I'm not sure why. He's a small, fluffy white Burman, with a silly flat face and big, beautiful blue eyes that go off in different directions. So obviously, he's not intimidating, at least not to me. Anyway, in the instance I'll be sharing with you, my cat was with me, and I think he might have saved my life. So it was late at night, maybe around 9 or 10, and my mother had to go babysit overnight at a friend's house, so she left me home alone. I'm not very social, so I don't have many friends, and even then all 3 of my friends, I know I'm super popular, are flaky. So I had no plans that night, other than to watch YouTube videos, play Fallout New Vegas, and promptly go to bed. And I did just that. Nothing exciting happened. I just brushed my teeth, washed my face, and changed into my pajamas before laying in bed at around 12. It doesn't take long for me to fall asleep, though I used to have a bit of problem with some sort of insomnia, but medication has really helped. I always take it an hour before bed, and then I'm out like a light. So I don't remember most of this dream. I rarely remember my dreams actually, but I remember someone or something telling me to wake up. And I did. I woke up and stared at my ceiling. Immediately I thought to myself, I'm having sleep paralysis again, aren't I? Very slowly, I looked around because I knew if I was having sleep paralysis, most likely there would be a spirit in my room. Well, I was right. I looked into my doorframe and stared at it curiously. I don't know why I did, but something told me to. There in the frame, I saw a tall, lanky, black creature with wild, unkempt hair and white, glowing eyes. Its nails seemed overgrown and its bottom half was blurry, like it was cut off. Usually, I can talk with my sleep paralysis, I just can't move. But I still tried to flail about wildly like a fish, calling out for help and screaming for my mother. But the realization hit me, my mom is not home. I began to panic, and I looked at my alarm clock. It said it was 6 on the dot. I kept screaming and I told it to leave. I screamed for it to go away and leave me alone so many times, I swore my throat got hoarse afterwards. My eyes were watering, and tears began to stream down my face. This thing was entering my room now. It was coming closer. "Go away! Go away!" I kept yelling at it, but it slunk into my room no matter what I said. I looked around hurriedly, trying to see if my cat was in my room with me. And he was. There he was, sitting on the corner of my bed, tail flicking back and forth violently. I looked back to the creature, which realized where I was staring and looked at my cat as well. Then it stopped. It looked back to me and then backed out of my room. Then I felt a weight being lifted off of my chest and I sat up quickly, looking at my cat in true terror. He just looked at me like, "Yeah, that's right, I just saved you." I began to have an anxiety attack and I promptly got out of my bed. I ran to my mother's room, which was empty. Then I ran downstairs and checked my back and front doors. Both were locked. My fears were real. This was no person, it was a spirit. I don't know why, but I grabbed a knife from my kitchen's knife block, and I kept it with me that whole night. Throughout the next day, I made sure my cat was following me, which wasn't hard because I think he was worried about me. That was probably the only time that a shadow creature really scared me, and I wish I could say there's more to this story, but there's not. I've only ever seen this monster once, and I have never, ever felt as scared as I did then, ever again. Number 2. Dark Figure in My Room. Submitted by Hero2099. This is a true experience that happened back when I was 11. As a kid, I was terrified to sleep alone with my bedroom door closed, because I wanted to be able to quickly escape my room if I saw a monster. Let me give you the layout of my room so you have a better idea of what happened. My room has 2 beds, mine and my stepbrother's, that are separated with a cubit between them. At the end of our beds, I had a big wall unit on which all of my dolphin-themed decorations were placed. The door was in the northeast corner, closest to my stepbrother's bed, which was also right across from the bathroom. Now that you have an idea of what my room looks like, let me get into the story. Something woke me up one night. I didn't wake up with half-closed eyes to the rising sun like a normal morning routine. I was woken up kind of like how you would jump awake from a nightmare, and immediately you would inspect your surroundings. I think it must have been around 2 in the morning. When I woke up, I felt drawn to look outside. It's hard to explain, but I felt like there was something in my yard. We had an alarm system, so I couldn't exactly open the doors without waking up my parents. Instead, I decided to proceed down the hall to my parents' room to look through the window, which was the only window with a full view of our yard. Now, I do need to mention that our house is slightly raised off the ground, enough so that you would need a small ladder to be able to look through the window from the outside. I tiptoed silently to the window so to not wake my parents and look through. And there it was. A pitch-black humanoid figure standing in the middle of our yard, staring right back at me. I instantly thought this was someone who was about to try to break into our garage on the other end of the yard, and I had just caught the bastard in the middle of the act. I wanted to wake my parents up, but that's when I realized something that sent chills down my spine. Above the window, we have a somewhat bright light that illuminates our yard, and it was shining directly on him. Except I couldn't see anything. No face, no clothes, nothing. This creature, because it was obviously not a person, was standing directly in the light, yet it was still pitch black. I realized that there was no way that this thing could be human. I stood there frozen, too scared to move, thinking that if I did, it might do something. I looked over to my sleeping parents, wanting to wake them up, but I did not want to provoke this thing. Now I know what you're thinking. I'm inside and that thing is outside. But I was not about to take the chance. After all, I have no idea what this thing was, let alone what it could do. It could appear right behind me for all I knew. When I looked back, it started to walk in the direction of our kitchen door, which was at the other end of our hallway. My heart started pounding in my chest, and I kid you not, I could not move a muscle. All I could will myself to do was stare down the hallway, waiting for the sound of a door handle turning. After hearing a loud bang on the door, I woke up to my mom bringing me breakfast, telling me to get ready for school. Was that a dream? No, it couldn't have been. It felt real. It felt exactly real. I didn't hesitate to tell my parents about it. And of course, they wrote it off as just a dream, as all parents do. I thought about it and agreed that maybe it really was just a bad dream, as I couldn't recall anything that happened after that loud thump, so maybe it was just a figment of my imagination. Boy, was I wrong, because the following night, at around the same time, I woke up again. But I didn't jump up this time. Instead, I just opened my eyes and I was met with the most terrifying sight ever. Right next to my bed, looking over me, stood that pitch-black creature. I was absolutely horrified, and I could not move a muscle. All at once I knew for a fact that this was no nightmare, no dream. It was real. I could feel my palpitating heart. I could see the clock on the wall as it should be. I could feel the sheets and blankets around me. I hoped beyond hope that this thing didn't have some sort of night vision so it couldn't see that my eyes were open. My curtains were closed, so there was no light for it to see that I was awake. I pretended to still be asleep, hoping that as long as this thing thought I wasn't aware of it, it would not attack me. I looked over at my stepbrother on the other bed, who of course was soundly asleep. I knew trying to wake him up would be impossible at the moment. After what seemed like forever, it finally turned around and slowly walked towards the door. At the door, it turned to me once more, and then faded out of my door, like sand blowing in the wind. Just as it left, I heard glass shatter in my room. It must have knocked something on the wall when it disappeared. I thought to myself, yes, there's no way that my mom could not have woken up by that. Only she wasn't. I still refused to move a muscle, as there is no telling whether that thing could be right outside my door in the hall just waiting. Then the worst thing happened. I had to use the bathroom. I thought, you've got to be kidding me. My life is possibly in danger and my body wants me to go pee. Whether it was from the intense fear, I don't know. All I know is that I had the urge and it was bad. Still refusing to move, I held it in for maybe 2 hours until I finally couldn't hold it anymore. I'd rather take my chances with that thing than be called a bedwetter. So I mustered up the courage and bolted for my room light. I had to go so bad at this point I didn't even care to be cautious and instead went straight to the bathroom without hesitation to relieve myself. After I did my business, I went back to my room to inspect the broken glass, which turned out to be one of my glass dolphin decorations. Feeling assured the thing was no longer around, I went back to bed. Though honestly, it was pretty hard to sleep, considering that my broken decoration only confirmed my belief that this thing was real, not a dream. The next morning, I told my stepbrother about it. He assured me what I saw was him going to the bathroom last night. But that's impossible. There is no way it could have been him. He was right there in bed when everything happened. I saw him. And it definitely wasn't him standing over my bed staring down at me. I mean, why the hell would he do that? It's just creepy. After that night, I never saw the thing again. I tried to research what it was, and the best match I could make was that everyone referred to it as shadow people, a spirit or entity in the form of a shadow figure or creature that is supposedly harmless. But this was truly one of the most terrifying experiences of my life. Harmless or not, I hope I never see that thing again. Number 3. Sleep Paralysis Progression. Submitted by MALLEUSMO. Since the summer of 2015, I was kindly reminded to the messed up situations I have experienced. After digging around a little bit, I found out I suffer from sleep paralysis. When you sleep, your body blocks the motion center of your brain. That way you don't jump out of bed or do something crazy while you're sleeping. The brain knocks out all movement in favor of you being safe. Sometimes you can be awake when your body gets knocked out like this, and it's common to feel a pressure on your chest, heaviness, and often a sense of evil in your room. It's supposedly because your brain is switching between REM sleep and waking up, and your body hasn't read the memo yet, and it believes it's paralyzed. While it can be easy and comfortable to explain away the boogeyman, when you're actually one of the people that suffer from sleep paralysis, it's an entirely different story. Maybe it's the not being able to move part, leaving you helpless, that makes these nightmares hit so close to home so hard. And the weirdometer really peaks when you wake up carrying actual marks from the injuries you receive in a dream. This is the second time now that I received actual damage during one of these sleep paralysis moments, and this is what makes it more difficult to rationalize. I got my first injury being bitten in the shoulder by a fanged shadow. Now, shadow people appear to be a common occurrence during sleep paralysis. That injury is now healing, and it only hurts when I'm feeling low. After that dream, I started to train myself to learn to control my dreams and wake up when I want to. This actually worked pretty well. I only had a handful of episodes, and being in control of my dream actually made it pretty fun, especially when you're able to beat the living snot out of the nightmares. Occasionally, one nightmare might sneak through, but it wasn't as terrifying. Learning to control your dreams is actually really fun. Going completely Neo on your own nightmares is pretty awesome. Now, my last Friday, 28th of October this year, something new happened which puts the doubt back into me. I was visiting my parents, sleeping in the room I used to have. I was having a normal dream, the more blurry kind that doesn't always have to make sense. Everything seemed dream normal, when out of the background, one of the personas in my dream, a woman dressed as a doctor, stepped closer. But then, out of nowhere, she stabs a syringe into my neck. The dream shifts from the blurry dream quality to a badly lit version of my childhood home. For those who know Saving Private Ryan, it's sort of like the way the sound returns after one of the shock moments, like when an explosion happens nearby. The needle hurts really, really bad. It's so vivid, like it's really there, and I find I have trouble breathing. At this point, I know I'm dreaming, trying to wake up. But I can't, I can hardly move. The woman turns around and tells me, "That just helps you to relax. Just go with it. Oh, and don't mind the bugs, they're venomous." Then she walks away, fading in the distance. I stand there holding my neck, completely out of breath, thinking this is a dream. I'm not supposed to feel out of breath when a tarantula the size of a small dog drops from the ceiling and starts to slowly crawl towards me. I try to take control of the dream, trying to will this thing to disappear, then to step away to another dream myself and wake up. But nothing works. So I try to run upstairs, search for a way out. The stuff from the syringe flowing through me felt like a sedative. It makes me slow and really tired. All I know is I do not want to wrestle with a dog-sized tarantula, so I push myself upstairs with that thing in pursuit. While running up the stairs, I remember I'm actually sleeping up there, so maybe I can jump into my bed and wake myself up. I push on, getting more tired and tired from forcing through whatever was slowing me down. I arrive at my bed, ready to jump in, only to see that instead of a mattress, it's a terrarium full of scorpions. I remember exhausting my considerable swear word vocabulary, screaming that this was not fair, only to be jumped on by the tarantula and falling backwards into the terrarium, getting both bitten and stung. Now, I've never been stung by scorpions or bitten by a tarantula, I just know this really hurt. Then I finally woke up, but my neck was in terrible pain and burning. Awake, I felt my neck, and I noticed two things. It hurt for the next week, and there was a small knob deep under the skin of my neck, on top of the muscle tissue. Though the knob disappeared after about 2 days, the hurting hasn't, and if you should ever wake from a dream that actually hurt and continues hurting after waking up, you know it's deeply disturbing. Now, I know most people might not believe this, or they might put it to, the mind makes it real. But was it paranormal? Was it my mind making it real? Or did a large spider bite me in my sleep and alter my dreams? No matter what the explanation, each is horrifying in its own way, and can happen to any of us. Number 4. In the Shadows. Submitted by An Unexplained World. This started about a month ago. It's 2016 and I'm 14 years old. I was always uneasy with the paranormal, but it intrigued me at the same time. My dad doesn't believe in that type of stuff though, because he thinks more practically. But I know there are things that just can't be explained. Anyway, I was dreaming, and in my dream I was laying down in my bed. I can't remember a lot of specifics leading up to the event, but I still remember some parts. There were 2 dark figures, one standing right next to me on my left side where the little walkway is, and the other standing on my bed looking down at me. There was also a little boy, about 10 years or so, standing at the end of my sister's bed. We both share a room. I just remember dreaming about something else and waking up, still dreaming I guess, to find the dark figure staring at me. It all happened so fast. I looked at the boy and he told me, "I'm disappointed in you, both of you." I have no idea if he was talking to us or the shadows, but that made me wake up from the dream. But the moment I opened my eyes, I felt something run off of my bed where one of the dark figures had been standing. I was so frightened that I pulled the covers over my face and I didn't look up. I was too afraid to move or look to see if there was something there. But after an hour or so, I managed to fall back asleep, trying to think of positive things. The next day, I told my dad about it, along with some of his friends. They tried to assure me it was possibly just sleep paralysis or a bad dream, and that the running of my bed was just one of my pets. I was trying to convince myself that that's what happened. It just didn't make sense. The figure and the weight in my bed was far too large to be my dog's or my cat's feet. I mean, my dog and cats are small, lap-size animals. Thankfully, my dad let me sleep with the flashlight the next few days to make me feel safer, though ever since then I have been uneasy going to sleep at night, and being in the dark in general. I also have trouble staying asleep through the night, even at my mom's house. It's creepy now, because I feel a presence everywhere I go, even when I'm alone. I hope I do not have to encounter whatever has started lurking and following me in the shadows. Number 5. The Man with the Top Hat. Submitted by Nick. When people dream, it's allowing you to escape the real world, and you get to be in scenarios that the human aspect can't physically touch or see. But this wasn't just a dream for me, because something happened in my waking life as well. On July 17th, 2016, I was in my home late at night. I had just finished homework from school and I was getting tired. I fell asleep in my room. I dreamed rarely in my sleep, and I tended to wake up the next morning right away, as if I was out for only a couple of moments. But I did have a dream that night. I dreamt I awoke in a cemetery, one that is located on a hill in my hometown, looking down at one of the city's children's parks. There was a stillness in the air and a thick fog surrounded the landscape, consuming all visibility for me. I continued to walk forward deeper into the fog, and coming across a light not too far away from me, I walked faster towards it and spot what seems to be a man in a black suit with a top hat. He's holding a lantern in his right hand, staring down at the park below the hill. I moved to him slowly and poked his back, attempting to get his attention. I ask, "Who are you?" The man does not speak. He doesn't smile. He just keeps looking down at the park. He never made eye contact with me, but he does turn around, ignoring my questions and leaving through the thick fog of the night. This dream is continuous for the next week after I have it, until something different happens. I walk over to the man once more and I stand next to him, looking down at the vacant park. I ask again, "Who are you?" The man finally answers in a deep and dark voice.
"I am you. We are the same."
Then he finally looks at me, staring deep into my eyes. He has the same features as me, even the scar above my left eye, the same eyes, the same hair, everything. It was a copy and paste of myself, though this man looked much, much older. He smiles devilishly and walks back into the fog. The next couple of nights later, I walk over the hill with him. Upon arrival, he grabs the back of my shirt and throws me down the 100-foot drop. I moan and tumble down the hill, knocked out. Later on, I wake up on a Ferris wheel at what looks like a fairground for a town that is about 15 minutes away from me. Though the fair was outdated and had what looked like a late 1800s or early 1900s look to it, men, women, and children laughed below us. I saw the figures moving around, but there was no color to them. Black shadows, silhouettes, that's what they look like. I looked to my right to see the man beside me, saying,
"Don't worry, the ride will be over soon."
Once we get off, I spend no time staying around. The moment we get down, I run out, though tripping and slamming my face down on the hard concrete. When I get myself up, I turn around to see the fairground gone, and I see myself in a grave. I'm in the grave. There's no way I could get out. I look up yelling, "Help, somebody help me!" And there the man was, smiling as he places the once stable shovels of dirt back onto me. I wake up later in the day and I needed answers. I began to look up my encounters with these nightmares and this man. I was seeing if anyone out there had a similar story to mine. Little did I know that thousands of people all over the world had the same issue, dreaming of an evil man with a top hat. It honestly felt better that I was not alone. I ended up consulting my friends about the subject. Surprisingly, many of them came up with useful tips and ideas to help prevent something like this from ever happening again. But whenever I tried to combat the situation, it got more violent. One of the worst dreams that I've ever had was the last one, and it took its time with it. In the dream, I am inside what seems to be my living room, but I'm dressed in formal clothes and the room is filled with coats and stuffed bodies of exotic animals, ranging from lions to polar bears. I got up and walked towards the door leading to the outside. I looked outside the window to see complete blackness. Then I spotted these eyes, warm crimson eyes off in the distance, at least 100 feet away. I turn around and I see a shadow standing in the kitchen, looking out of what looks like a window to the outside. I try sneaking past him, but he turns around catching me. His eyes are blood red and those are all I can focus on. He grabs me by the throat and pushes me up against the kitchen wall. I struggle, but nothing seems to work as his grip gets tighter and tighter, until finally I black out. I wake up in my room from the dream. I'm sweating all over. I look over to the left side of the room, the darkest corner, and I can see a crouching dark figure there. I blinked and the head of this figure turned to me. One eye was red, the other white like milk. The chaos wasn't over. I was awake, but I could not move. My whole body was paralyzed with this thing in my room with me, no longer in a dream. Eventually, I don't know how long it took, but the thing faded away and my feeling came back. I was able to move. Thankfully for me, those events stopped occurring after that, and I honestly don't want to think about how worse they could have gotten. And number 6. Hooded figure or creature beside my bed. Submitted by The Girly Idealist. This happened to me a couple of years ago, which means I was about 15 years old. I was in my room on my laptop watching YouTube videos like I always do. I have no real routine and do whatever I want most of the time. My sleep pattern is all over the place, so I have no idea what time this was. After some YouTube watching, I finally go to sleep. When I woke up, I felt normal and nothing was out of place until I looked beside me. It must have been 2 or 3 in the morning. It was still dark out and I should not have been awake yet. But when I looked beside me, I saw a hooded figure staring right back at me. I think my ears started to ring when I saw it. It was reaching over towards me and had some sort of green aura around it. I thought to myself it must have been sleep paralysis at the time. Then, moments later, it vanished. After that, I told my mother and my brother what had happened, and they were a bit freaked out, if I remember correctly. After this experience, I was a bit scared to sleep by myself, so I slept with my mom for a while. But as I began to think about the experience more, I knew that it could not have been sleep paralysis, because I recalled moving my leg around when the encounter took place. This realization only serves to scare me more of what this thing might have been, and I hope that it does not come back. Whether you sleep in the dark or you enjoy the company of a nightlight or companion, don't think it will be of any help. An intruder is only a picked lock away from doing what he pleases with your unconscious self. Not to mention the demons, the spirits, and the monsters of the night don't need to pick any locks at all. And I'm sure they'll do far worse than some thief. Good night. Be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And don't forget to send us your true scary stories today at darknessprevails.org/submit. Thanks.